speak for me. May the work that I have done speak for me. Speak for me. Oh, if I fall short of my goal, someone else will take the whole. And the work that I have done will speak for me.
Whoa, music. Great. Thank you so much. Ted made that video. It's amazing. Um, for those who I don't know or who don't know me, I'm Judith Barish. I am the Coalition Director of CHIPS Communities United. We're a national coalition of unions, environmental groups, and community-based groups that came together after the signing of the CHIPS and Science Act with a mission of trying to make sure that when we brought back semiconductor production to the United States, we didn't repeat the mistakes of the past. And Ted Smith and Mandy Hawes were among the coalition's founders. They are, as I think you all know, veterans of our country's last experiment with chip production. So they knew what to look out for. They knew the challenges for workers and communities. And more importantly, they had a legacy of building grassroots organizations that battled the industry in Silicon Valley and organized workers, community members, and others to stop the electronics industry from harming neighbors and workers. So at CHIPS Communities United, we are standing on the shoulders of giants. Happy birthday, Ted, and happy birthday, and thank you. Today, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Rand Wilson, who's going to be our MC today. But just a tiny little bit of housekeeping before we do. We ask you to participate in two ways. One is to put your name and how you met Ted and Mandy in the chat. The other is to, at some point during this hour, see if I can do this while I'm talking at the same time, to go to this Google Doc and write a message for Ted and Mandy, and then we'll put it all together for them as a card afterwards. If anybody has a problem with it, let me know, but you should be able to write your own message however you want. Great. Thank you all for being here. I'm going to turn it over to Rand, and welcome.
Hey, thanks, Judith. And welcome Ted and Mandy and all of your friends, colleagues, and coworkers and comrades from decades of work to make the planet and our communities safer, better, more equal, and just. Just amazing group of friends, an amazing body of work. And we're going to have just a few speakers kind of touch on some of the highlights of their work with Ted, with Mandy, and with the various projects that they've been on over the course of the decades of work that they've contributed to. And again, just reinforcing what Judith said, and I see people are doing it, drop some stuff in the chat, show your love, use emojis, and get ready to hear some. I mean, I'm all broken up by the slideshow already, practically in tears, and I'm sure we'll hear some moving testimony now. And to kick that off, I want to introduce a longtime friend of Ted and Mandy's and a friend of mine, Pat Lamborn. She spent 4 years working in the electronics industry as an assembler. She spent 8 years organizing for occupational safety and health with the Santa Clara COSH, and 30 years as an organizer with Unite Here, the Hotel Employees and Restaurant Employees Union. Pat, unmute yourself and take it away.
Thank you, Rand. I'm not muted. All right. So, it's so amazing and wonderful to see all these people. And hello, Ted and Mandy. This is awesome. So quickly, I guess I'm the oldest person here. So I go back the longest. Is that it? That's cool.
You're not
Okay.
the oldest at all. We're the oldest.
No. I think it's me, Ted. So the two words that I would say, are just what I think about and feel when I think of Ted and Mandy are awe, spelled AWE, and inspiration. And I met Mandy in the late 1970s. As Rand said, I was working at National Semiconductor in assembly. I went in as an underground union organizer. That did not happen. But through my own chemical exposures, I ended up meeting Lenny Siegel, Mandy Hawes, and Robin Baker. And with Lenny's leadership, we got an OSHA grant under the Jimmy Carter administration and created an organization called PHASE, Project on Health and Safety in Electronics. We rolled out a hazard hotline. Hundreds of electronics workers called that hotline. Many of the workers had illnesses related to their chemical exposure, and we referred those workers to Mandy Hawes because she was an attorney and she did workers' compensation, and she took those cases. As I said, I'm in awe of Mandy. Those were difficult cases, hard to win. She took them. And then Mandy continued on to be a leader, a board member, an organizer of all our campaigns. She also developed the leadership of those injured, ill workers so that those workers became the spokespeople in all of our campaigns, board members. So I was in awe of Mandy's skills and abilities, as a lawyer, of course, but as an organizer. The other part of this point in our lives together, Mandy, you guys, I guess you found out she's married to Ted. So they have 3 children. And during this time, Mandy was pregnant. Okay, 3 kids, you got to be pregnant. But Mandy would march into rallies, meetings, press conferences, court appearances with a big old baby bump. Just this amazing mother warrior. And I had really never seen that in that time. And I was in awe of Mandy and inspired by her. She was a mother and a warrior. So those are just a couple things. She went on to be a national and global leader. Other folks will talk about that. So wait a minute, where does Ted come in? Oh, I remember. Fairchild spilled toxic solvents into the groundwater in the whole neighborhood of San Jose. There were birth defects. Those neighbors went to a law firm. Mandy connected with them. And then Mandy connected them with a whole campaign. And that morphed into the Silicon Valley Toxics Coalition. Well, Ted was an attorney. Ted left his whole profession as an attorney, took on lead organizer, director, development director. That means you have to raise all the funds to lead the Silicon Valley Toxics Coalition. And as many of you know, that ended up leading to the EPA declaring the most EPA Superfund cleanup sites in the country, in our Silicon Valley, with the electronics clean industry. I was in awe of Ted. The man left being that safe thing, an attorney. Did he know what he was getting into? He absolutely did. He nailed it. As you all know, Ted went on along with Mandy to become a global leader in environmental, all the struggles around the globe. So I know people will talk about that whole national and global time in their lives. So I will end with the last thing that inspires me about Ted and Mandy. They love life. They love their children. They love their grandchildren. They love music. They like to dance. A couple of years ago, maybe, Ted calls me up. Pat, I now live in Alameda near Oakland. Did you know that there's a Zydeco dance class at the Eagles Club where you live? Mandy and I are going. You want to come and join us? And I'm like, yeah, I've never done any Zydeco. Months later, Ted calls up. There's a Greek festival in the Oakland Hills, Pat. They're going to have fabulous food, music, and dancing. Do you want to join us? I'm like, yeah, we will join you. So along with all the amazing things they've done as fighters and organizers and warriors for occupational and environmental justice, Mandy and Ted love life. And I'm hoping to hear what they're going to do next on that thing. Okay? And I know it will inspire me.
Thank you, Pat. That was beautiful. And up next is a member of a union that I worked with for many, many years, Communications Workers of America. Louis Rocha is retired from CWA as a staff rep and as a local union leader in San Jose, but he's still active in the movement for workers' rights and still active building a better community for workers and residents in the Silicon Valley, and a longtime activist. Louis, great to see you.
Thank you, Brandon. Good to see you all, especially the birthday lovebirds. That is awesome. Happy birthday to you both, comrades. And I gotta say, I met Ted indirectly, probably first when I was first started low riding, and I had a '64 Chevy, and Ted was actually part of the Community Alert Patrol back in the 1970s in San Jose, in the east side, largely where I live. But that I think helps, just sets the tone for, at least here in San Jose, the dynamic duo of Ted and Mandy impact in our community. The Community Alert Patrol was a police watch organization that started because of the high rate of police killing of black and brown people in San Jose, and that was where I guess Ted probably first started. I didn't know him then, but I've heard later that he was a part of that organization, which I can say was a great help for many of us that were trying to find our path and our just to survive in this world. And along those lines, I want to mention too that what I've learned from Ted and Mandy is that coming from Silicon Valley, we owe it to not only the country but the world. The harm and all the problems caused by the companies here in Silicon Valley, they've been a drumbeat in the fight for environmental justice and many other things that help the community directly. Mandy, I know I was got into the labor movement in the '80s, and that's when I became familiar with the Silicon Valley Toxic Coalition and the work that Phase and that Mandy was doing in occupational health. I was a union member in San Jose since 1979 when I hired on at Pacific Telephone. And the impact though reached to the largest companies in the area. Mandy was instrumental in occupational health, assisting the workers at IBM, and of course the electronic companies that were very big in the valley. At least they had manufacturing here, and the Silicon Valley Toxics Coalition, which came out of that. I think it was the Santa Clara County Center, or Santa Clara Center for Occupational Safety and Health, and many programs came out of that organization. And the Silicon Valley Toxics Coalition was one of them, which I later joined, which helped raise awareness. I don't know if it's true, but I think San Jose has one of the highest bottled water purchasing rate in the country because of the work, the awareness that was raised. This whole industry of portable water, which you would think it should come out of the tap, just that should be something we are all blessed with, but it's not. And that's why many people in the neighborhood still go and buy bottled water, because of all the awareness that was done by the Santa Clara County, or I keep saying it's county, but Center for Occupational Safety and Health, and programs like FACES. I was on the board, I believe, when this program came out, Family and Community Environmental School, which I think just speaks to the intent, the focus of Ted and Mandy has been with the people, and that program was targeted to working class people in all neighborhoods, including those that are a working class that are lower end or minority, highly people of color areas. And so that cumulative effect has been that the labor was part of this movement, as well as the community, the minority community locally, which was part of Ted and Mandy's mission, has been to bring people to the table, to leave no one out of the strategic planning
Louis,
and fighting. All right. Okay.
Thanks so much.
Okay,
Beautiful.
you got it.
And particularly loved the fact that you brought how they brought the community and labor together and stuck to that. And next up, unmute yourself, Jim Morris, who's executive director and editor in chief of Public Health Watch. And Jim, where are you?
I'm right here.
Hey, there you are. Welcome,
Yeah.
Jim.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. So I think I first heard of Ted and Mandy in the 1990s when I worked at the Houston Chronicle, and probably had a brief conversation with both of them and did a kind of a short piece of what was going on out in Silicon Valley. But I really didn't get to know them until 2014 when I went out to San Jose and spent several days there with Mandy and Ted, probably mainly Mandy, and then got to know a mother and son named Yvette Flores and Mark Flores, who at the time were living in a mobile home park in San Jose. And Yvette had worked in the industry, and Mark had been born with profound uh, problems, mental deficiencies, all sorts of physical problems. So I ended up writing a lengthy story about Mark and Yvette that probably got me more comments than almost anything I've done in 47 years because people just didn't know. And I'm from Texas, and at the time I was in DC, and people just didn't know the sorts of effects that could be associated with this industry. So I'm grateful to both of them for giving me all the time they gave me and countless phone calls and lots of dumb questions to help me put that story together. And I ended up using that episode in a book I wrote last year called The Cancer Factory that came out about a year and a half ago. Devoted a chapter to it because I thought it was so important. So these folks do serious work, and I respect people like that. That's it for me.
Hey, Jim, thank you so much.
Sure.
Next up, we're going to have Robin Schneider, former executive director at Texas Campaign for the Environment. And just as importantly, she worked with the electronics take back campaign that was came out of the work that Ted and Mandy did in Silicon Valley. Robin?
My first interaction with Ted was actually when I was a student at UCLA. I was on the statewide steering committee of the Campaign for Economic Democracy as a student rep. And Ted Smith came to one of our statewide steering committee meetings up in Santa Barbara Mountains at Tom Hayden and Jane Fonda's ranch. And I heard Ted Smith talk then, and I was so impressed by what he was doing. And so years later, more than 20 years later, when I was approached about getting involved with the Take Back Coalition, because the corporate target was Dell, and Dell was located in Austin, where our organization is headquartered. I asked the person who called me, I said, "Is Ted Smith involved with this?" I said, I want to get on board. And we had many adventures.
I'm in the middle of this Zoom. Can I call you back in about
from Seoul to Washington, D.C., and many, many places in between. I'm wearing my shirt from those days where we got an award from the Austin Chronicle, and because we had I don't know if you can read it, it's the best new partnership was Texas Campaign for the Environment and Dell, because we won Dell over, had meetings with him. We had meeting with Al Gore that got Apple to change their tune. And through this, I also got to know Mandy. And I don't know if I've ever met anyone who has run as many marathons as Mandy has run. These are incredible people. And I feel so honored to be part of the story of Ted and Mandy. And happy birthday.
Beautiful. Thanks, Robin. Next up is a good friend of mine and a longtime Californian who miraculously relocated to the Northeast, to Maine, is Mike Beliveau, who is currently the director of a new nonprofit organization called Bend the Curve, seeks a just transition so that the petrochemical industry no longer harms people and the planet. Gosh, very easy lift.
Short-term thinking. Yeah.
Short-term thinking. Yeah.
Inspired
Take
by
it.
Ted and Mandy, no doubt. Hey everyone. I've known the two of them for about 42 years. When I first met Ted, I was a 24-year-old, wet behind the ears, professional agitator. We both showed up independently to a public meeting, both demanding that the Santa Clara County fire chiefs grant the public's right to know about the hazardous materials information they were about to collect for the first time on the electronics industry in Silicon Valley. And that was the beginning of a beautiful relationship. Four months later, the Silicon Valley Toxics Coalition was born, with Ted as the executive director. I was one of the founding board members, and we had a long ride holding the industry accountable for toxic pollution and more, and have kept them on the defensive ever since through Ted's leadership. Around the same time, I I met, this is typical Mandy. I met Mandy. She was simultaneously organizing against the aerial spraying of malathion for the medfly in Santa Clara County, suing companies for poisoning communities and workers, and leading SCOSH, one of the top occupational safety and health organizations in the country. Truly amazing. And I learned a lot from both of you, about the power of community labor environmental coalitions, about the importance of never letting an injustice rest, about how workers are canaries in the coal mine we should pay attention to, and especially the need for music, song, and dance in all our political struggles. These were lifelong lessons that I learned by their side, and it continues to this day. As recently as this past year, I stayed at their house, and they introduced me to a film I had never seen before, Jimmy's Hall, the Ken Loach flick about communitarian celebration and resistance in the repressive culture and politics of the Irish countryside in the 1930s. A truly amazing must see. So my mind continues to be expanded, as well as my soul and psyche, thanks to Ted and Mandy. And thank you guys so much. I love you and really appreciate all you've done for all of us.
Thanks, Mike. And we would be remiss if we didn't not only bring the community, labor, and environmental perspective, but also an international perspective to the work that Andy and Ted have done. And so next up is Sanjeev Pandita, who works with the Solidarity Center, but also is on the board of the International Campaign for Responsible Technology and was the former director of the Asia Monitor Resource Center based in Hong Kong. And he's worked with Ted and Mandy at the international level. Sanjeev?
Thank you, Ren. And hi, everyone. Happy birthday, Ted. Ted and Mandy, the most beautiful couple I have known for more than 22, 23 years. As Ren said, I used to work in AMRC, in Hong Kong. I saw a book there, Health Hazards in Semiconductor Industry. And it was the time when, Asia was on the receiving end of whole global manufacturing, and China was continues to be the global factory. And a lot of exposure was happening to workers, and there were terrible accidents happening, similar to what happened in New York. There was a similar accident in Cato Fire, and we were beginning to form an Asian network on occupational accidents. And Ted invited me to San Jose to participate on the 20th anniversary of SVTC, Silicon Valley Toxic Coalitions. And I went there, and this was my first introduction about what is happening to people when they're exposed to the toxics produced by the electronic industry workers and community members together. And that was when our partnership started. And, both Ted and Mandy had been in touch with the groups in Taiwan and in Korea, but then eventually that partnership became much bigger. And we were able to do some incredible work. Ted was Ted and Mandy both were able to come to Asia quite often and give us much needed experience. What was different in this was, we always get this technical expertise from the global north. But what was different in this collaboration was there were lived experience of the people who had lived through it. As somebody had pointed out, I think Judith said, we don't need to go through the same thing again. But unfortunately, we were going through the same thing, and we are just starting the movement to organize workers and communities and to get justice. And their incredible work was so important for us to have any success in Korea when we took on Samsung. It took us years, but it was not possible if Ted and Mandy did not connect us or did not provide their expertise. Same thing happened in Taiwan, and we were also witnessing a lot of cancers coming up in China, Indonesia. I mean, this trend is still going on. The work is still not complete, and as you know, we don't want Ted and Mandy to retire. We just want them to continue doing this, whatever they have been doing wonderfully for so many years. I mean, each of them bringing a different set of expertise. Ted with his community organizing, and Mandy very specific about organizing victims and bringing the victim stories and highlighting them, what happens, especially children. I think that work, has been so incredible, so touching. And people in Asia, workers and community organizers in Asia, get easily connected with both what Ted and Mandy have been doing for so many years. They don't see them as outsiders. We see them as integral part of our global activist community, together fighting this very nasty industry, which we still have to do a lot. And Ted and me have worked, in many places in Vietnam, China, Vietnam, Philippines, India. We have traveled together, and it has been a wonderful journey. And yes, like many others pointed out, they are both wonderful couple, and we wish to continue this journey for many more years. We don't want them to retire. Yeah. Thank you, Ted and Mandy.
Thank you, Sanjeev. Wow. I don't know. I'm feeling the love here, Ted and Mandy. Definitely, it's beginning to build. And just to kind of bring things to a close before we hear from our birthday people, I want to introduce a good friend of mine, good friend of both Ted and Mandy, Ken Geiser, Professor Emeritus at the University of Massachusetts at Lowell, and also the founder of the Toxic Use Reduction Institute there, that's been a pioneer in toxics activism. Ken?
Thanks, Rand, and happy birthday, Mandy and Ted. It's a terrific honor to be part of this long lineup of people who are giving testimonials to you, because there is so much love for you and so much that we all owe you as just friends and colleagues and comrades in a long, long struggle. I first met Ted when I flew out to California to go to an early electronics meeting in Santa Cruz. And I had heard about Ted Smith. This was about 1984. And I wanted to meet him and share my anger about what was going on in Massachusetts around electronics. And we immediately bonded. It was immediately, I knew that this guy was a guy that I could work with, and indeed for the rest of my life. I met Mandy as, first of all, his wife, but very soon thereafter, through my interest in occupational health, and Mandy's commitment through Silicon Valley, through Santa Clara COSH, connected up because I was involved with Mass COSH in Massachusetts. We went on in those early years. Ted was a driver within the National Toxics Campaign, one of the first broad-based grassroots coalitions of people hurt by and concerned about hazardous waste, and then set up something called Integrated Circuit, which was our way of trying to begin to organize research and political activity around the electronics industry across the nation. organization that Ted and Mandy both participated in and were leaders. And within the context of that work, we were able to eventually meet with Sematech folks and put our concerns before them about the need for a healthier, safer, and more sustainable electronics industry, and jokingly about the future of creating an all-vegetable chip. Rand asked me if I would wrap up a little bit, and I will by just noting what you've just heard from me and from the others on this testimonial is our great thank you, our great respect for you, because you are, the two of you have shown such a capacity to take the indignation and the anger that all of us feel about the way in which community people and workers are treated by the electronics industry, and to develop it into real campaigns for progressive work and victories, indeed, all through your lives. And also, one of the things that I think we thank you for is your commitment, your dedication. This has never been a single issue. It has been your lifelong issues, and you have carried it from when I first met you in the 1980s and for all of the years that I've worked with you, which is something like, I think, about 40 years now, has been your solidarity in carrying on, trying to make this industry responsible. I think the big thing, though, is you've just been an inspiration. You've heard it from others, and you certainly get it from me. I just find your vision, your dreams, your ideas about the future, and that is safer and cleaner, to be a real touchstone for my own work, and I think you have for others as well. And the last thing I would just say is you have such a strong commitment to community. Some people do this kind of heroic work, but they're very singular. They're alone people doing this work. You always think about it as a community response, and you always bring on others of us. How many times I've had a call from Ted saying, I've got a new idea. Can you join in this? Can you join in that? You're always looking for others. You're always looking for us. You're bringing us along. And I think that is part of the wonder of the two of you. You are just leaders for us. You're visionaries for us. And I think in many ways, you are comrades of great, great quality. Thank you so much. I love you. I've loved you for a long time. And it's great to celebrate you, Ted and Mandy. Happy birthday, and a toast to you as colleagues and friends.
Okay. Ted, Mandy, unmute yourselves. I don't think I have much more to add to what's already been said, except that this has been a joy to connect with so many of your friends and your community, many of whom are longtime friends and comrades. We've all been drawn together through so many campaigns, and it's been a blast and a labor of love to reach out to so many of your loved ones, your family, and comrades and friends that have been on this journey, as Ken said, for so many years. And we're just grateful. So we'll just let you guys close it out, and the work continues. La luta continua.
Let me just start by saying thank you with as much as I can possibly say to everybody here. It's just so wonderful to see all of our old friends, or so many of our old friends. But let me just start by saying, particularly, I'm really pleased that a number of our family is here. My older brother is here. Our three kids are here. It's very rare that we get to see all of them together in one place. So even though we're distant, I really appreciate the fact that they showed up, and they've put up with a lot of our shenanigans and not so great stuff over the years, but they still love us. We still love them, and it's really great to see. I also, one of the things that I was saying when I started reaching out to people as with the chip industry was coming back here, was saying, we're trying to put the band back together. And that's the way I feel about this call also. We reached out to a lot of our old friends from a way different parts of our lives. And it just made me realize that we've been really blessed to be able to meet such incredible people. Throughout decades, literally. And that the fact that we're still in touch and still close whenever we can be to so many people from the different eras that we've been involved, that's a real blessing. And I don't know how, I think that seems rare to me. Um, and I don't know that I really feel like I need to say much more. I'm hoping that we have some time after Mandy and I just say our thanks to you, that we'll be able to hear some more from people who didn't have a chance to speak. And I do think that we're very happy to be letting go of a lot of the responsibilities that we've had over the years. I have recently, we have both recently kind of stepped back from the steering committee of the CHIPS Community United, which is the most recent iteration of this whole strategy that's decades old. And that feels good. That feels really good. And the song that we selected, that if when we don't have to continually be the leaders until the end. There's other people who are picking things up, and that's the whole point of this, I think. And the fact that there's a lot of us on this call with gray hair, but not everybody at all. And there's a number of people that are coming along that we feel really good about. And the fact that we've been able to start at a very local level and take this struggle globally, I feel just really, really proud of. So and we want to do some traveling. We want to do some more partying. We want to do some more singing. We want to be able to spend more time with many of you just to hang out and have good times together. So I think that's all I had to say.
So thank you all. I want to try to say this really concisely. What has motivated me from the very beginning has been understanding that the parents of disabled children worry about what's going to happen to their children when they can no longer take care of them. And so a big part of my focus has been advocating for those families. Some of you may have heard about Mark Flores. Jim Morris wrote a great article about this, and we'll send it to you. The exposures the moms were put through included lead. Fetal alcohol syndrome's been around forever. Lead rots brain, that's been known for 5,000 years. And this industry still gets away with doing it because they can. Holding them accountable is what this has all been about. In the case of Mark and Yvette, we learned the hard way because Mark's brain wasn't working, that the stuff she was working with turned out to be 62% lead. There's no way you can pay anybody money to get them to do that if you level with them in the first place. So they don't do that. One of the things I've always tried to do when I am in a situation confronting somebody, a spokesperson for this industry, is, would you let your daughter work in this plant? And they look at me like, I said, okay, I think we got the answer to that question. Safe jobs, healthy families is what I'm doing now. And it's to try to find, to the extent we can, how many children, regardless of their age, they're always children with intellectual impairments, are the children of electronics workers. Because I know that their moms were not warned or protected, and the consequences when your brain doesn't develop are irreparable. And the challenge to the families, the challenge to anybody who tries to help is enormous. And the cost is landing on the public. So my goal is to find out how many folks are we talking about, and say to the industry, it's on you. You caused it, you pay for it. And share the stories, because there's no excuse for this in the first place. It should never happen again. Last but not least, Mark Flores is one of my favorite clients, and his mother just died. And one of the things that I try to do, I understand that this happens, is to try to fight for resources so that their children will be taken care of, will be safe. It's something every mom worries about. And when it happens, to know that, yes, maybe you can't do it any longer, but we're going to do what we can. The Board of Education has a resolution supporting all of this. Happy to share it. And that's it. Who do I pass the something to?
But one more thought. I know we tried to put an awful lot of material into that short video at the very beginning, and we had to go very fast to keep up with the music. That is going to be available. If anybody wants to see it again and go through it slower, that's a wonderful, wonderful song. It's been an inspiration for us, and it was really fun putting all that together. So I hope people will, and maybe share that with other people too. I think that should be an anthem for all of us.
Thank you, Ted. Thank you, Mandy. We have 44 people on the call, and I am going to take the prerogative of the chair to not entertain any additional speakers. As much as they all love you, I think it's important that we stick to the time frame and wrap up. I will, if there's somebody in the family that wanted to say something, one of the children, because we really haven't had the voice of your family. So if any of the family wants to say something in closing, I would certainly entertain that. But if not, that's fine. You know, I don't blame them for not speaking to you, because gosh, just think of what they've endured all these years. Just kidding. Is there somebody from the family that wanted to say something? No,
I'll go real quick.
Gord, is that Gordy?
Go for it. Sure, go for it.
Go for it.
Hey, yeah, there I am. All right. I just really want to say real quick, love scrolling through, seeing all these faces that I haven't seen in years. Some that I have seen recently, but honestly, so many people that have been, you guys keep using the word comrade. I think that's a fantastic word. It's a word with a lot of connotations, but that I grew up thinking that your parents were supposed to have friends that were more than people that you socialized with, people that you really did meaningful work with, and that you cared about it, and that it was integrated into your life. It's something that, like, when you boil it down to that, you realize the kind of people that you were raised by. And I'm very proud to have been raised by these people. They're wonderful role models, and you old friends, new friends, you're all kind of examples of the kind of people that my parents attract. And this has been really fun for me to watch. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And thanks to everybody. We will be making this recording available to share with a lot of people that were unable to make it tonight. And we'll also be posting the song and slides to YouTube separately, so that people can look at that as well. I want to thank everybody for coming on, for keeping to times, keeping your Zoom muted, and really giving Ted and Mandy the 80th and 82nd birthday that they deserve. It's been wonderful. So thanks very much, everybody. And I think I have one slide to share, which is here. There we go. I don't know if that shows up, but you guys are great. Ted, Mandy, we love you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for organizing this. That was wonderful. Happy birthday to you both.
Thanks. Thanks for being here.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Our pleasure.
David.
Want to see the video again?
Yeah. Yeah, it's I'd say it's a great video. Great song.
Yeah.
Good going. Good going.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
And join me in the Belmont Greek Festival over Labor Day weekend, and we can dance our asses off.
Hey,
there you go.
That's such a great way to close. If you can't dance to it, it's not my revolution.
That's right.
And
Hey there.
you've lived it. All right, everybody. Good night.